first of all, let me just start by saying what you're looking at here is just a sampling of my kids, okay? And what I'm hoping to do is give you an overview of why our AP Studio Art program is as successful as it is. And I hope to answer all those questions. My plan is to just talk maybe for about 40 minutes and leave 15 to 20 minutes for you to ask any questions that you like. But let's just start. This is just a little bit about me. I have only been teaching for 10 years. I came to the party late. I went to school way back in the day to be a political science person, and that didn't pan out, and we won't go into all the reasons that didn't pan out. Mostly it was because I got married and I moved away from the Washington, D.C. area. That is where I am a native. I've been married 30 years to my prince. That's him right there. And he is right now driving around the Los Angeles area. He said, "Can I come and listen?" And I said, "Absolutely not." So yeah, he's in sales and he does a lot of training for people. And I said, there is no way you're going to sit in that audience and critique me. So anyway, that's him, my husband, Alan. I have one 26-year-old daughter, Madison. She is a speech therapist down in Greenville, South Carolina. I have one very spoiled wiener dog named Willie. Yes, his name is Willie. We didn't really think that one through, or we named him Willie. But one of my neighbor's friends, her son, his buddy was over, and I had Willie up at the house, and I was saying, "Oh, Willie, Willie, Willie," and this kid goes, "You named your wiener dog Willie?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, didn't really think about that." So my previous life before teaching, I was a portrait artist. And if you've ever been a portrait artist, you know that it's feast or famine, you know, and I was home with my daughter and going back to school to be a teacher. So it took me 10 years to get my art ed degree. Went back when my daughter was 7, finished when she was almost 17. So this is just a little bit of my work. Very tight. I'm so tight, I squeak. So, and if you follow me on Instagram and you see my kids' work, you can see the influence there. But these are just some portraits commission work that I did for some people. I primarily am a colored pencil artist. If you're coming this afternoon for the make and take, we're gonna do a fun little paint blob. And so this is kind of like where I started as an artist, the medium that I started with. This little lady on the end, I don't know where the click, oh, there it is. This little young lady right here is like 25 years old now. It's a friend of mine, that's her daughter. And then this is another oil portrait that I did of my pastor's daughter, who now has 4 children of her own. But, so this is just a little bit about me. And this is what I do when I'm not teaching and when I'm not sleeping, is I make competition bikinis for bodybuilders. So that's kind of a weird little, that's a weird little side niche thing that I fell into a couple years ago. I'm a seamstress, and I had a friend of mine who was a competitor, and if you know anybody who competes, it's a very much an online market. And she was ordering suits and paying a lot of money and they didn't fit. And so she said, "Can you help me?" And I said, yes. So this kind of grew into this business. So these are a couple videos of the suits. Those are all Swarovski crystals. They're completely custom. And ladies, if you ever think that you can't get involved in something like this woman right here is 47 years old. And yeah, she's 47 years old. This lady right here is 46. And this lady right here is 52. So just really, it's a very inspirational business, or sort of a side business, because these people work really hard at what they do. So it's a blessing to get to kind of, and it's artsy, you know, a lot of color schemes and a lot of, but for me, and if you haven't figured it out yet, like I'm like wound up, okay? So really, really wound up. And so this is a nice little Zen thing for me to go home and do. It's a way to be creative. But anyway, and one of my AP students designed my logo. So that was 3.5 years ago. I said, I need a logo, and so she designed that for me. So anyway, that's all you need to know about me. And this is our program at Lake Norman High School is only 8 years old, 9 years old. First year we submitted was 2012. So we have submitted 121 portfolio submissions. We did not have AP before then. It was a smaller department, and the people that were there said that they did not want to go get certified to teach AP. I came on board in 2010, and the lady that I student taught with said, "You got to get certified to teach AP." So I went and I got certified, and so so I'm going to show you our stats, how we've scored over the last. This is every portfolio we have ever submitted. So these are our scores. And the really cool thing is I did not even realize there was a perfect score until I got 2 letters from AP saying, this student here was 1 out of 16 in the world, and this student right here was 1 out of 26 in the world. So it's pretty crazy, especially when you don't even know. Like, you know how they say you don't know what you don't know? I didn't know what I did not know. Like, honestly, I was just cooking along, doing my thing, and we ended up getting 2 perfect scores in the world. So it was kind of cool. And so then along comes Instagram. And I really got involved with Instagram. Probably the kids made me one 6 years ago. And then I started, posting a little bit. And I was telling Kelsey that just last year I discovered the Instagram story. And so that you can show a daily process of your kids' work. And the whole Instagram thing kind of like enlightened me to what other people are doing with AP Studio Art. And there are people doing the most amazing things, and it's so inspiring to me. But this is some of the kids' work. And this is a colored pencil piece. This is a terrible photo of it, but that's a colored pencil piece. This young lady did not even know she could draw. So when she came into me in drawing 1, she just kind of got stuck in there. Very academically driven young lady and just really pursuing, and she had a hole. So her counselor said, you need to go take drawing 1, you'll probably like it. Fox is crazy, just go, let off some steam is basically what she said to this young lady. And so out of drawing 1, she came right into AP. I just took her right in the next year. And so that's her story. But this is the young lady, this is the 2014 perfect score. That's a piece out of her portfolio. She did mental disorders for concentration. So every piece that she did focused on a certain mental disorder. Absolutely crazy. This is the other lady who got the perfect score, and that's Stephanie Lamb. So her portfolio, her concentration was present day and post-apocalyptic, and she would combine the images. So this is a piece from a portfolio that we submitted this year. This is Max O'Connor, and he's actually on his way to Rhode Island School of Design in the fall. This is Jamie Googans, and she's actually one of 5 students that we got that got accepted to NC State School of Design as freshmen, which if you're from the East Coast, that's like a huge deal. They probably interview 600 to 800 kids for about 18 to 20 spots in each school. So yeah, we really had a good year there. And this is just some figurative work that we do. So not only do I do like prompt-based projects, we do a lot of life drawing, we do a lot of figure drawing, we do a lot of work from life. So this is if you follow me on Instagram, then these all look very familiar to you. But this was a pen and ink piece that we did. And I mean, I'm serious when I tell you, I just work on the fly. Like I just came in the school one day with 2 cups of coffee on board, jumped up on the table, grabbed 2 stools and some fabric out of the back, and we folded this up. And they just spent 5 class periods in front of this with an ink pen and a big piece of paper. No pre-sketching, no nothing. Just like, because like they know I'm crazy, so they know whenever they come in the door, it could be anything. It could be they're 90 minutes. And I have my kids, I have AP all year, but I have my other classes 1 semester. Great question. I should have said that earlier, because that probably will put you into better context of what we're doing. All right, so this whole attitude of excellence, the whole scores that you saw up there, all of that, we're 100% pass rate and the whole 9 yards. But the whole thing, this is the question I get the most, and this is the question I got from Aaron via Instagram. This question a lot of teachers ask me is, my God, like, how do you do it? And parents, we've been doing this for 10 years, and what you see in this is not cherry-picked like the best work that I have. This is just me randomly going in and saying, okay, I'm gonna these work together. So it's not like these are just the only ones that really look good. We have a great, like, the kids just really wanna be awesome. And I think, I often ask myself, what is it? I love them so much, and I want them to be so successful that it's like in my bones. Like when they come in, I'm just like, I just want you to be amazing. That's all I want. Like, and I think they're kind of afraid, like not to not be, because I'm so, So this is what we do. We take our little class photo. I usually, if you teach high school, I wait till the end of the first week because everybody knows what happens in the first week. Schedule city, you know, they're in, they're out, they're dropping, they're adding. So we usually wait about a week to do this. Everybody does it, every class. So I have, this is my storage cabinet in my room. So what happens is we take the photo, and then the photo stays up on my front board all semester. And then when the semester is over and the kids leave, it graduates to the cabinet. Now here is the really cool thing that I never expected about the cabinet, is kids will come into my class who no longer have me, and they will bring people with them. And they will say, I want you to see what I looked like in 10th grade. So this is when they were, and it's really awesome because I always tell them, I get to be part of your life. There's this little slice, like sometimes I'll even draw it out on the board. This is your life expectancy. This is how long you're in high school. And then I tell them to think about somebody that they really admire, a famous person, a politician, you know, they really admire, find somebody, and a musician, anybody. All of those people share the same thing. Everybody went to high school. We met somebody on a trip, my husband and I, that went to high school with Jerry Seinfeld. And they said, I gotta tell you, he wasn't that funny in high school. Like it was funny to hear him, because the guy's like, you know, I went to my locker every day and I see Jerry Seinfeld. Everybody had to start somewhere. So I tell them you have to understand the value of the person that you're sitting next to and who that person might be. You don't know who you're sitting next. You could be sitting next to the cure for cancer, for Pete's sake. So I really sort of start talking to them about those kinds of things early. And then I'll say, you know, I tell them I will shamelessly sell my story to People magazine with this photo when you're famous. I will get this photo and I will go on Ellen and I will hold it up and tell her that you were in my class. My kids, before we decided we would go outside and do this, the older ones, I would push the tables together and make them stand on put the chairs up on the tables. We did all kinds of crazy stuff. So, as far as building the relationship, during that first week, we do this project. I don't care if you're painting, I don't care if you're drawing. Now, AP, that's different because they've already done this 2 times, you know, at least. But so the community is already there. So when I'm talking about AP Studio, and I'll talk more about it at the end, this is the, they've done this. So we've built the relationship. But this is the NIAM board. The lesson is in my TPT shop. I'm not here to tout my TPT shop. Just tell you, if you're interested, I have one. Check it out. If not, I'm sure you have your own projects that deal with this kind of thing. Find a project that will tell you about the student. And I mean really tell you about the student. Not just draw or create this and hand it in to me, but there's a whole series of worksheets that go with this that I print out and I would give you one, and I would give you one, I would give everybody in the room, and you fill that thing out completely, and then you build the project based off the questions. So when I grade it, I get the project, I get your answers, and not only do you have to answer, you have to explain how you put it into this format. This is not just some random BS that you can line up, you know what I mean? This is, you would say to me, these images right here stand for blah, 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 question number 3. And these images, and I'm so tight that like this is section number 1 and 2. And 3. And then in between, they have to do just, this is sort of like the Zen stress relief part for them. They can do whatever they want. This is the answers to the questions. So what Dawn was talking about, you know, a little bit of construction and a lot of creativity, I give them the jumping off point too with this project. But this happens during that first week while all of this schedule changing is going on. So what I do is I walk the room and I talk to you the whole time you're doing it. So by the end of that first week, I don't really need to read your answers in depth because I've spent so much time getting to know you that by the time I get this, or by the time I actually see you start to put it together, I'm like, oh, wow, like Brenda. So this must be for blah, blah, blah. You wanna blow their mind? Like, point out what you already think that they're doing and why they're doing it. And then they're like, holy crap, like this is not busy work. This is her really wanting to know who I am. So this we do no matter if they do, painting does this and drawing does this. And then I put them out in the hallway. I put them out in the hallway, just like we go all old school elementary. I make bulletin boards. I tape everything up while they're working on it. I put it, so this is the whole set the tone thing. See, this is me getting ahead of myself. While they're working on it, like at the end of class, even if you have 42 kids, I don't know how big your classroom is, but even if it's one day a week, showcase one class on the board, mid-project, so that everybody who comes in can see like what the other classes are doing. So when we set the tone at the end of the week, when they turn this in, I share my syllabus with them in PowerPoint form. And this is the first slide of the PowerPoint. And this is based on a course evaluation that we do at the end of the previous semester. So when you're done taking my class, I tell them we're going to go very collegiate. I'm going to give you a course evaluation. I tell them when they're in college, they will evaluate a course. So it's very adult. They feel very adult. They feel very responsible. And I give them, it's written. I don't do it digitally, and I'll tell you why I don't do it digitally. I want to see your handwriting. I want to see the component of you putting the pen on the paper and writing something to me. And when I go through those at the end of the semester, and I tell them this, I say, listen, if you don't want credit in the PowerPoint, don't sign your name at the top. If you would like to have credit in the PowerPoint, if you have something interesting to say, and I tell them, give it to me straight. If you think I'm nuts, say you think I'm nuts. If you think the class should go a different way, give me the honest feedback. Honest. And so then I tell them, if you put your name, and you say something that I think is really interesting, you might end up in the PowerPoint. So when they come in for the day of the syllabus, this is the syllabus, I have this up on the screen already. So then they sit down and they start reading, and they go, wow, like I can tell you all day long what my class is going to be like, but if your friend tells you what class is going to be like, you are way more likely to take her word than mine. And if your friend says to you, you better do your very level best the whole entire time because girlfriend is crazy up there, then you're going to take it for gospel. So these are just some things, and I mean, please don't think there's like all kinds of profanity going on in my room. There isn't, but this is high school. So when they tell you, you need to get done, like that's what and Carson, God bless her, lots of times did not get it done. Like this is not my, my high flyers. Some of these, like I've had kids on my homepage, because I change this every single semester. New quotes, new everything. The only thing that stays the same is the basic rules. I've had kids say stuff like, she won't give up on you. Like, I'm the laziest person on the planet, and she didn't give up on me. So that's, so anyway. Then kids stop by your room and say, oh, I heard I made the PowerPoint, And they don't really say it to make the PowerPoint. They really don't. So it's nice. It's really, really nice for me to see them get excited. And this is the only rules I have in my class. This is it, right here. There's only 4. I'm going to be totally real with you and tell you that I don't even really know what the school posted rules are. I had them in my room like 5 years ago. They painted my room, and I got rid of them, and I don't know what they are. Don't steal, don't hurt somebody. I don't know. It's just like your basic kind of stuff. But this I never have a problem with. This I never have a problem with. This, sometimes happens but I tell them your artwork is an extension of you, and you're precious, so your work is precious. The work of your neighbor is precious. So that's the attitude. So see, we're already laying the groundwork. This is a drawing one colored pencil piece. You don't get, not that you don't get it, but you don't get this girl, oh my gosh, never saw anybody work so hard in my life. But she was so excited by the time we got to this, just knowing that she was valued and that her classmates valued her. I don't have trouble in my classes with anybody like getting into it or being rude or anything, because I value them so much that I think it just resonates with them, and then they treat each other the same way. It's like, we're a family here, people, and whether you like it or not, that's just the way it is, and they respond to that. This girl didn't even know she could paint, and so this is, like I said, I don't know that I would have gotten this from her had she not felt really safe and really valued. And I have a folder on my Google Drive that if you would like me to share it with you, we can do a sign-in sheet, or, I'm not very tech savvy, so I think there's probably an easy way for me to share this with you, but I don't. Kelsey's like, there is. I'll tell you what it is later. But I'll share it so that you can see a copy of the whole PowerPoint and see. The only thing they write down is what's in the yellow. I cut a half a sheet of construction paper, and everything that's in the yellow fits on that little half sheet of construction paper. They put it on the back of that IM board, and that's their syllabus. That's it. So this is just another IM board. They can do whatever they want with it, except, they have to put everything in the right numbered areas. And there's another one. And so this is drawing 2. So just to show you the difference between drawing 1 and drawing 2. Drawing 2, they do the altered books. And if you follow me on Instagram, there's lots of the altered books on the Instagram. And so this is just one more, this is like the IM boards, but just like one step further. And I actually went and bought old books at a junk shop, and they chose a book. They had to do 6 pages of layouts, and it's a whole nother, like, where they have to respond to questions, and they have all of these guidelines and things like that. So I just really feel like this is an investment that pays off in spades forever. Instead of just coming in and just jumping right into the first thing that you do, take that week and a half, and just really get to know them. Just really, really sink your teeth into who's in your class and what their capabilities are. So these are my expectations. And this is another slide that's in the syllabus. And what I do from the very beginning is this is the only goal we have right here. This is it. We don't have anything else that we're doing. Whatever we're doing, you better be doing it to the very best of your ability and nothing else. Like, this is what you're doing. And whoever or whatever might be keeping you from that, and as high school teachers, we know there's plenty of stuff keeping them from being fabulous, whether it's extracurriculars or people or parents or boyfriends or their other classes, just whatever drama they have going on, I tell them, leave it outside. And you know who that goes for? That goes for me too. And I'll just let you know a little secret. I have a brother who half the time is homeless. Half the time we don't know where he is. He's 46 years old, and he has lost everything due to drugs. So there's times when my mother will call me in the middle of class to tell me, to update me on something that's going on, and I have to leave. I have to talk on the phone, then I have to come back in, and I have to say, and the kids don't know a lot about what's going on, but my AP kids know the situation because I use it as a teaching moment for them. And I'll say to them, they'll say, is everything okay? And I'll say, no, it's not. But let me tell you what the good news is. The good news is I get to be here with you. So and that just levels me back out, and that levels them back out. And I could come back in and be a raving lunatic. I could go out and say, okay, I'm done, give me a sub. I'm gonna go lose my mind. But you know what? That situation is what it is, and so is this situation. So, and then a lot of times I will get feedback or letters from them saying, I was dealing with this horrifying experience in my personal life, and you taught me how to come in and still be my best in spite of it all. So why I'm dealing with this business with my brother, I don't know. But maybe it's just so somebody else can figure out how to deal with something that they're getting ready to have to face. So this is drawing 1. This is painting 1, painting 1, painting 1. And this is the only goal we have. It's easy. It's real simple. As long as you keep that focus narrow, then there's not a lot of... I went in a room one time, and this woman, I am not lying to you, she had 50 rules. They started at the ceiling. They went all the way down to the floor. They were printed on poster paper this big. I said, who reads that? She's like, well, evidently nobody, because nobody's listening, blah, blah, blah. I said, of course they're not listening. What is this business? Get this off your wall. Yeah. So here's the celebration part. Make sure that they can see what everybody else is doing at all times. This happened totally by mistake. I had the bell ring on me one day, the first year I was teaching, and we weren't done, and I was in a really small room with the 36 people. That was one of those classes. And they literally physically could not get to the cabinets to put their work away. And everybody was like, ah, the bell. And I said, stick it up on the board. So they just had magnets and they stuck it all up on the board. And it was the craziest thing happened. The next class came in and they went, oh, I know her. Oh, I know her. Oh, is our stuff going to be up there? And I was like, well, yeah, it's going to be up there. That's my whole idea. It's my whole plan. Yeah. And so they put their stuff up there. And let me tell you, it was a mess. It was a small room. I mean, we were taping and on the walls and everywhere. But the whole climate of the room changed. Like, everybody knew when they came in that at the end of class, it was going on the wall. And that everybody was going to come in and see it. It was crazy. It was really crazy. So I was like, all right, this is working out pretty good for me. So these are just some Instagram little videos that we did. This is drawing one. And I hope I can make the second one work. Oh, and I made the third one work. That's drawing one and drawing two. And then this, I can't get that to work. Anyway, you get the idea. So put it up there. And if you're somebody who likes like a really neat class where there's not a lot of chaos, maybe this is like a little stretchy thing for you. I'm kind of chaotic, in case you can't tell. So I just want them to have their work up there. So here's what I'm going to do in the next couple slides. I'm just going to walk you through how I sequence painting and how I sequence drawing. And we'll do it real fast because I want you to be able to ask questions. This is the crux of my teaching strategy. Very small steps, very big victories. So this is my very exciting first painting one lesson. They're just going to mix up some values. So these are the only colors that we use right here. No black. None of that business. You'll learn about the no black thing if you come to the make and take. No black colored pencils either. So they just learn to mix, and then we just scaffold. So once they learn to mix, they learn to work with a crisp edge and a soft gradation. Once they do that, this is a collaboration project. This is so much fun. And if you want something beautiful hanging in the common area of your school, this is it, because the kids just love it. And everybody paints one of those. Then we move to an object. So here, let me go back to that in case you want to take a picture. So when they work with the gradations and the edges and the mixing, they've got those three things down, then we go to actual subject matter. And in this case, all they did was I said, hey, bring in silverware, bring in utensils. Please don't bring in grandma's silverware. Just bring in something that, in case we lose it. So we photographed it. We take all our own photos. We don't Google photo. We go outside in the sunlight. And is it chaotic? Yeah, but they love it, and they're very invested. So I just tell them everything's made up of shapes, values, and edges. Like, I just boil it way, way down. So then we did automobiles. So after we did the silverware, we graduated to the automobiles. They had to just go out in the sunlight and take pictures of cars. This is not on my TPT yet, but when it is, I'm going to include all of my images that we took, just in case you don't have access to, let your kids run free in the parking lot. I tend to do crazy stuff like that, but my principal's very accommodating, and he knows I'm nuts. But you might not have that kind of a situation, so I'm gonna do photos for that one. So then that brings us to, once they've done those projects, this is the final collaboration project that they do, and this is a master study. So 4 students, 4 different panels, and this is the year. This year we did a lot of Margaret Morrison. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's a contemporary painter out of Georgia. Nicest woman in the world. You want to follow a truly fabulous human being? Margaret, do you follow her? She's genius. And she actually came to our school, drove 3.5 hours one way to our show the first year we did her paintings, and met the kids. I'm talking classic woman, classic. Morrison, Morrison. She's actually a painting professor at University of Georgia. So anyway, this is the challenge, is that not only does it have to look like Margaret's work, but all 4 pieces have to match. And so this is painting 1. Now, this is 2 panels that I had to cut because this was a group of 5, so I had to run this up the table saw. And this group didn't work together quite as well as the other groups, and you can see some discrepancies in here. So like Dawn was saying, it's a collaboration. It's really teaching them to reach a common goal together. But this was really my weakest group of painters, and they rallied. They really did, they rallied. Because remember, they're only using primary colors. So they had to mix all these neutrals. And this is a Thomas Hart Benton. This was also another of my weaker groups, but they just rallied. You know, they watched, you know, what the other kids were doing, and they just really rallied. This is so much fun, too. It's fun for you, the teacher, to research. I pick the paintings, I pick the groups, the only thing I let them do is choose which corner. So out of your group of 4, if you guys were a group of 4, the only thing you get to pick is which corner you do.
This is temper or acrylic?
This is acrylic. Yeah, Blick acrylics, yeah. And wait, this is one of my favorites. And we had, one of the parents came into the school and I actually wanted to buy this, and I can't part with it. So I said, no, you can't have it. And this one, I don't know if you're familiar with Lee Price, but this is a Lee Price piece, and this is painting 1. Have you ever signed something, and when they start doing it, you're like, holy crap, this is too hard for them. I set them up for failure. Have you ever done that? Okay, yeah, well, this happened right here. Because I'll show you the very first day they started painting. This was the first day. And I walked over, and they were working so hard. They were on the floor, and they had it all together, and they were mixing, and they were talking, and they were collaborating. And I went back, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up. Like, they're never gonna be able to do this. And something came over me, and they were just like, Tiffany, you have prepared them. They are enthusiastic. Let them solve the problem. And
Only primary?
Only primaries. Only primaries. And here's the cool thing about only using primaries. Your kids become what I like to call color snobs. My kids wouldn't squirt green out of a tube if you gave it to them. They are so proud that they did all of this. And that's what they say to people. They'll be like, oh, hey, guess what? Only red, yellow, blue, and white. And they watch people's faces go like they're, like, we had a girl come into our class who had not been there. They were doing the visual journals, the books, and she didn't have me for painting. And so she said to I heard her saying to somebody, where's the green paint? I need green paint. And one of my girls goes, in fact, she's in this group. It's Haley Stalp. Where's Haley? There she is right there. She said, Miss Fox, she wants to know where the green paint is. Classic. She goes, classic. I loved it. No black. Okay, here's your quick how to make black. It's so easy. Ultramarine blue, cat deep, and a tiny bit of warm yellow gives you the most gorgeous black you ever saw. So then, see, this helps them with the neutrals and the mixing, like all of these grays. That's why I said when I walked over there, I was like, oh my God, because these are big. So if they run out of paint for the next day, they got to remix and match. But the cool thing is, when they do those value scales, they have to mix the 3 grays and the black. So see, they get that knowledge back in the beginning. Then they work it through the silverware. Then they work it through the automobile. By the time they get here, oh yeah, they're like, whatever. Give us, yeah. They're like, oh, is this all you got? Like, they're so confident. So that's the other piece of this puzzle. Oh, these are actually videos, so you can see them painting. But I have 2 classrooms. I have a room inside the building for my drawing classes and my AP, and then we have trailers outside, and so we sort of commandeered one of the rooms because the room is a mess. Like, you know, they've painted on the walls and all kinds of crazy stuff, but it's their space, you know. So this is just more of them working. You can see it's crazy. It's a mess. And this is one of my favorite things to watch them do, is to just work together and figure this whole thing out. There's Zach, who skipped all the time. He came in extra. Like, we have Smart Lunch at our school. He came in during Smart Lunch and worked on that project. So this is drawing 1. Of course, I'm like way long-winded. Okay, so this is drawing 1 real quick. So we do right brain. After we do right brain, we do quadrant method. So just they break it into 4s. And then this is also the quadrant. Now, these kids have never drawn before. A little bit of drawing in Art 1, but not any intensified drawing. So this is their quadrant line drawing. And then we work with shapes, and we work with scale and proportion. So yeah, cartoon characters, the kids love them. They're easy to break down. They're easy to scale up. They're easy to scale down. And then this is Sid, who's my husband's favorite project. My husband made me put this in here. So he's a little koala bear, and once they learn the shape method, they get to make a Sid, and some of the classes make 2 Sids. Sid can be they can turn him into anything they want. And I thought high schoolers would think this was kind of corny, because I did this with elementary school when I had private lessons. But I threw it at them the first year, and oh my gosh, they love it. They love it. So like this is Sid on the Titanic. This is Bieber, poor Bieber. Of course, Kermit. This is the Commodores. And every single one of the Commodores, mind you, hashtag for the young people, 1970s, yeah. And then, of course, this is our girl, Britney Spears. But they love it. You know, it's fun, and it's like this, they've been doing this really intensified line drawing and this quadrant thing for a couple weeks, and so this is sort of their, like, you know, they can like let some steam off, because then stuff starts getting real serious, and I start setting things up in the middle of the room that they got to draw from negative space. So we do a lot with negative space, a ton with negative space. I'm the worksheet queen. In case you know, like I said, if you're familiar with my TPT, I think small steps, big victories, so they do these little things. Yes, I put those paper clips on the table, took a photo of them, and came up with that little thing. Rubric right on the worksheet. Nobody can say to you that they lost their rubric, because it's right there on the drawing. So that was another really fun thing. This is their sort of like their culminating negative space project. And so they're pretty easy. Like here's another one with the rubric on it, and you only have 5 categories, 1 through 5. And usually by the time they turn this in, you know what you're going to circle anyway. You know what I mean? Like, because it's real, everything they have to know is real basic. Like, did they have a full range of value? Did they have a good transition of value? Are their edges crisp between the foreground and the background? Like, so when I see it, like you just go like this, like 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Yeah, so it's not like you're really doing a lot of intensive thinking about it. And they know about your rubric too by now. So they're familiar, and hopefully they've read it, because I tell them there ain't no excuse for not reading it here, because look, it's like 1.2 inches away from the thing you're actually drawing. Like just move your eyeballs a little bit. So anyway, this is value. Again, same kind of rubric, little quick rubric. So we're just scaffolding. We're just building on. Then they do their name. This is the stone alphabet name that they do. They love that. I tell them if they're seniors, take it to college, hang it on your dorm room. You have the coolest name on your hall. Okay, so this is my drawing 1 final project. We usually will do some shoes, their own shoes. Everybody takes off a shoe. We throw them in the middle of the table. One year I discovered everybody's wearing Vans. So all the shoes in my 1 year's project were all the Vans shoes, which was so hilarious. That's another one from that same year. No finger smudging. So they have to do everything with the pencil. They're taking the photograph. They're taking the photograph, yes. Yes. Outside in the sunlight. One year we did melted silverware. Have you guys ever melted silverware and had them draw it? So much fun. Just don't burn your house down like I almost did. But I mean crazy, just something as simple as silverware, you know? And you melt it, and then they draw it, and then they do the white on black. All right, so here's the ice cream project. Very, very popular, very popular. And so we did this from life. We set these up out in the studio under the lights. So get yourself a can of white spray paint, find every piece of junk you can possibly find, spray it all white. That's what I did, and then we made these. Took all this stuff out of my cabinets right here. This still had bleach in it, I think. That still had shampoo in it. We just spray painted everything. Had so much fun. So clear silverware, also a lot of fun. And portraits, we did portraits 1 year in the high contrast. That's a lot of fun. More portraits, a little creepy. So here's colored pencil. So as you'll notice, every single media I teach, value scale, sphere, small project, usually another small project, and then final project. So no jumping right into the big project. We like sort of inch our way up there. So this was drawing 1 this semester, this past semester.
So drawing 1 is a semester.
Drawing 1 is a semester, 18 weeks. Okay, so here's AP. We're almost done. This is AP. So this is just so you can see like where it culminates to. So here, the prompt on this project was power. This was part of her concentration where she was just doing this really morbid, she was doing beautiful objects with very morbid sort of undertones, as you can see. That's called apple teeny. No, I'm sorry, eyeball teeny. That's eyeball teeny. Yeah, so this is just more, this is all colored pencil, them doing their own thing, colored pencil. This girl did her entire portfolio on crumpled up paper. She is at the Ringling School of Design down in Florida, but the whole thing, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, Carly, you are going to be on meds by the time you're 30. This was really cool. She did the 1950s, sort of like this Twilight Zone thing. Yeah. So you can see the brains and the eyes and all this crazy stuff. And then this is La Petite Orange, where they take an orange and they slice it or peel it, and then they have to draw it in some kind of unusual circumstance. This was power on the right. It's another power piece. And here's the final four. I'm a deadline junkie, okay? The deadline is the deadline. If you're not going to be in school, guess what? You better find somebody who is, and you better send your project in. So no, when we get to AP, there's like absolutely no movement whatsoever for people not turning stuff in. So they do a written oral critique, peer evaluation, all peer evaluation at the AP level. So I'm not grading, they're grading each other, and they're putting the work up on the board and evaluating it. So very, very, like, again, pressure from your peers. You know what I mean? Your work is up there, and somebody else is going to be evaluating it. So accountability, I already talked about that. And this is just some things that we've done this year. We did the figure. These were kids I stole out of another class. These are kids in the AP class. They had to draw each other. So that was this figure piece. Yeah, so much fun, so much fun. And this is just craft paper that you cover your tables with. Oh yeah, someone gave me rolls of that stuff. It is awesome for charcoal. So we did the memory project. You guys probably do the memory project. So this is the memory project. And this is the transparent objects project. Like I said, they bring in all of the glassware. We take it, take all the photos. This was the fabric on the stool. That's from life. That's not from photograph. And then this was the power piece. I had to put this one in here just because this one is like a bit little on the phallic side. Yeah. And I said to her, Sarah, what do you got going on here? She goes, you know what I have going on. I said, okay. I said, okay. Yeah, so when we were critiquing one of the boys in the class, Max, the one that's going to RISD, he's given this big, oh, this is what I think it means, and blah, 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 and it's a commentary on power. And I said, but who has the power? He goes, oh, the woman. I said, you're a smart man, Max. So we had a lot of fun with that. And this is the AP. They did the Shoe Frenzy project last summer before. But this was everybody was wearing the Converse, and so funny. And then there they are. So this is this year's group. We culminate with a big show at a local gallery. We do not do our show at the school. I find them gallery space, and they do a gallery show. So it's really, we had about 500 people at their show this year. Yeah, we've had it at this gallery for the last 3 years, and she says people continuously call her throughout the year and say, when is the AP Studio Art show? So thank you so much. Thank you.